Iceland have withdrawn from Eurovision 2026. Martin Green has written a letter to the fans, and Nemo has returned their Eurovision trophy. We also have a ton of national final news. We need a Eurovision 2026 news update. Let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. As always, I'm going to leave timestamps down below if you want to skip to a particular story. First up, the main story is that Iceland has withdrawn from Eurovision 2026. They will not take part following a decision made by the board of directors of RUV, which is the Icelandic broadcaster. So they join the Netherlands, Spain, Slovenia and Ireland. That's 5 countries now who have withdrawn in protest against Israel's participation. So this followed a large campaign from Icelandic artists. We had Paul Oscar from Eurovision 1997, one of my favorite Icelandic Eurovision entries ever. Björk, with her 2.3 million followers on Instagram, also supporting, and Sigur Rós. So those big Icelandic artists getting behind may have been one of the factors that swayed Iceland to finally making a decision. They were kind of a bit on the fence whether they're going to withdraw or not. Huge respect to Iceland for joining Ireland, Spain, Slovenia and Netherlands. 5 countries now out. Let's check out some of their statements. The Director General of the Icelandic Broadcasting Corporation explained at the meeting in Geneva that although the voting changes addressed many of the comments that RUV representatives had made at various stages of the EBU cooperation in recent years, RUV still had doubts that they were useful. So yeah, these changes are good, but they're still pretty easy to circumvent. It is clear from public debate in this country and the reaction to the EBU's decision made last week that there will be neither joy nor peace regarding RUV's participation in Eurovision. It is their RUV's decision to inform the EBU today that they will not participate in Eurovision next year. One additional bit at the end here just about their national final Smthngnw. There's been no decision on whether a singing competition will be held by RUV next year. The available options are being assessed and a decision on this will be announced when it is available. So we may unfortunately be also losing Smthngnw, their national final. I really hope that they do keep Smthngnw. If it does happen, I will of course definitely cover it, even though Iceland are not going to Eurovision. This decision for Iceland to withdraw has been welcomed by many Eurovision fans who feel that Israel's politicization and abuse of the contest makes it untenable for them to stay there. So Iceland showing their principles and joining the 4 other countries. Very, very sad to see them go. They are one of my favorite countries in Eurovision. If you've been watching the channel a while, you know it is my ultimate dream that they win the contest for the first time at some point. It's not going to happen this year, but I fully praise and admire them for the decision that they've made. Now, as a result of all of these withdrawals, the Eurovision director, Martin Green, published a letter to Eurovision fans. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing out, to be honest. If you want to read it, you can pause and have a read through yourself. To be honest, this letter didn't do much for me. It's a lot of words, not much action. I'll just point out some key bits. This paragraph here: we know many fans want us to take a defined position on geopolitical events, but the only way the Eurovision Song Contest can continue to bring people together is by ensuring we are guided by our rules first and foremost. So again, a lack of consistency here. Why were Russia and Belarus removed? Rightfully, but then when Israel do it, they get a free pass. This exceptionalism, this double standard, still not addressed. Again here, as we look to next year, we will ensure that all participating broadcasters respect the rules of the competition, and if they don't, you have a personal pledge from me. We will not tolerate it and call it out. He's promising in sorts that he is going to make sure that Israel doesn't cheat again. Again, it's so easy for Israel to bend these new rules. For example, the rule about governments not being able to pay for advertising, they can get around that by getting a private citizen to do it. We know that AIPAC, for example, has huge amounts of money in the US. With, for example, the Adelson family in America pump hundreds of millions of dollars into the Republican Party in the US. They can very easily spare a couple million to pay for this campaign. How could the EBU punish that? That's a private citizen. They can do whatever they want. So easy to get around these rules that have been put in to try and stop Israel cheating. But the fact of the matter is they're addicted to this now. They love this PR win that they can buy. They're going to keep breaking it. They're going to do whatever they can. This is going to go on for ages, as long as they're in the contest. Anyway, Martin says that he's not going to let it happen. Let's see if he is able to keep to his word. To be honest, the rest of the letter is a lot of fluff. I think people are a little bit sick of words at this point. They want a little bit more actual actions. But I'm interested to know what you think about this letter. Did it have an impact on you? Twitter hated it, but Twitter is only one part of the community. I'd love to hear from you if you thought that it was effective. I'm still surprised that he's writing to us, I have to admit. I don't know if that's part of his job description, that he has to write us a certain amount of letters per year, but it is kind of surprising. I don't think that the EBU really cares about fans that much. So then it is kind of surprising that he's writing us personalized letters. And we had a response to this letter from Jose Pablo Lopez, who seems to have become a little bit of a spokesperson for those who want to be Israel removed. This is the Director General of RTVE, the Spanish broadcaster. This is translated from Spanish. He said, "Today, Martin Green has addressed the public in a letter. He does so with the festival in flames, 5 countries withdrawn, artists who will not accept the national pre-selection to go to Eurovision, major festival stars positioning themselves against Israel's participation, and the greatest reputational crisis in the history of the EBU. He does not mention Gaza or Israel in his letter. That is, he does not call things by their name. They are events that happened in the Middle East and that move him. Is genocide an event? Nothing more. That said, Green is listening to you, the fans. That's as far as his job goes, listening." I have to admit, I agree with that, but it is a lot of words and not a lot of actions happening. At the end of the day though, Martin Green is a spokesperson. How much power does he really have? He's the director of Eurovision, but there's so many layers of power above him. Does he actually get to make any big decisions? Or is he just the person who gets shoved with having to announce the results of other people's choices? It's not super transparent, let's be real. He now tells us that what's past is past and that rules will be followed from now on, and the violations of these 2 years by Israel, is that water under the bridge? Are the rules applied as it suits the EBU based on its geopolitical and economic alliances? For me, one of the big differences between Russia and Israel is their diplomatic prowess. For me, Russia is no diplomatic prowess whatsoever, whereas Israel is very masterful in its lobbying. And we've had that admitted now with that article I talked about in the last episode from Ynet, where they're talking about how they spent the whole summer lobbying and influence. Israel's good at swaying favor and lobbying, and Russia's terrible at it. That's what's happened here. I must acknowledge he has some nerve to say this. After the very night the new rules were voted on, Israel assured that it had politically influenced the delegations to manage to remain in Eurovision, something which I covered in my last episode as well. I think that Martin would have curried more favour if he had addressed those allegations. Instead, any of these big stories come out, he just kind of ignores it. So I think if you're gonna write a letter to the fans, it should address those big issues like Israel admitted that they were lobbying. Is anyone gonna do anything about that? No. Why? As Jose Pablo says, what else is left for us to see? So Eurovision is going really global right now. So many mainstream places are covering it almost on a daily basis, and it's overwhelmingly negative. Add to this, Nemo, the winner in 2024, has decided to return their trophy to Eurovision.
I'm Nemo, and last year I won Eurovision, and with it, this trophy. And even though I'm immensely grateful for the community around this contest and everything this experience has taught me, both as a person and as an artist, today I no longer feel like this trophy belongs on my shelf. Eurovision says it stands for unity, for inclusion, and dignity for all people. And these are the values that made this contest so meaningful for me. But Israel's continued participation during what the UN's Independent International Commission of Inquiry has concluded to be a genocide shows there's a clear conflict between those ideals and the decisions the EBU is making. This is not about individuals or artists. It's about the fact that the contest was repeatedly used to soften the image of a state accused of severe wrongdoing, all while the EBU insists that this contest is non-political. When entire countries withdraw, it should be very clear that something is deeply wrong. And that's why I decided that I'm sending this trophy back to the EBU headquarters in Geneva with gratitude and with a clear message. Live what you claim. If the values we celebrate on stage aren't lived off stage, then even the most beautiful songs become meaningless. I'm waiting for the moment those words and actions align. Until then, this trophy is yours.
So this is a really strong statement from Nemo, bringing up a really great point. You know, Eurovision was initially created as a way to bring peace to Europe after World War II. And now it's become a way for countries who are committing genocide to try and whitewash their crimes. So it's a really incredible, strong statement from Nemo to send their trophy back because of what it now symbolizes. I think this just kind of shows the poisoning of the brand in the general public. We also had Charlie McGettigan, who won Eurovision 1994 for Ireland with Rock and Roll Kids, putting out a similar video saying that he was also going to return his trophy, although he didn't know where it was, because obviously his win was 31 years ago. But yes, this is indicative of many artists just not wanting to be associated with the brand. And going on in the future, I think it's going to be harder and harder to get artists of national finals and internal selections to want to put themselves forward and be associated with a brand that's completely lost its values. The EBU has confirmed to Norway's NRK that it will not become more expensive for broadcasters to compete at Eurovision in 2026. This is despite the boycott of Ireland, Netherlands, Slovenia, Big Five member Spain, and now Iceland as well. So this is very unusual. Why are these 5 countries withdrawing but prices are not going up? Who's footing the bill? Is it Austria? Is it Israel? I would love to see a freedom of press to know who is filling in these shortfalls in the money, and why wasn't this done in previous years to get back countries who are having financial difficulties. Okay, TVP, the Polish broadcast, has confirmed that they will participate in Eurovision 2026. Some Euro fans were hoping that Poland were going to pull out as well. Have to admit, I think that was a little bit delulu. I think when you're relying on TVP to be your white knight, I think that just kind of shows the desperation that Euro fans were feeling. TVP is nobody's white knight. That was never ever going to happen. They've never said anything before that would indicate that they were planning to withdraw. So this is thoroughly unsurprising statement from Poland. Okay, let's go to some public polls on this issue. The Greek public wants Greece out of Eurovision due to Israel's participation, according to a poll done by News24. Under the posts are by Karen Pelez, who wrote their songs for the last 2 years, and this year is not allowed to write their song. They've made up a rule that she's not allowed to be chosen for the 3rd year in a row. So instead, it appears she sent a song into Greece's national final. So Greek people are reacting to this. Let's look at this poll. So 82.45% of people do not want Greece to participate and 17.55% do. And we have more polls. This one is from Sweden. I know it means nothing when our broadcaster doesn't listen to reason, but as it stands on Aftonbladet's site, a clear majority of its readers actually agree that Sweden should boycott Eurovision. Yes, 63%, no, 30%, and don't know, 7%. So another country who would prefer to boycott, but the broadcaster is overriding that decision. Another one, let's go to Norway, a Norsat poll for NRK. This is back in early November. 6 out of 10 Norwegians think Norway's public broadcaster should vote no to Israel's participation in Eurovision. Yes to participation, 22%, no, 59%, do not know, 19%. And finally, let's go to another one. I'm seeing a pattern here. 82% of British people want Israel kicked out of Eurovision. So if all of these public pollings do not support Israel's participation, why are their broadcasters voting for it? Okay, let's go to a really interesting article from Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper. Same image again, this image is everywhere. They posted an opinion piece on the situation regarding Eurovision, where the author is critical of the approach of the Israeli delegation. Let's check it out. Shout out to Astrid Mon Sigref for posting this. There's a really interesting opinion piece from Shay Ringel, who is an Israeli journalist. I'm just going to pick out some select comments here. At the center of last week's conference stood the storm that has engulfed Eurovision over the past 2 years, namely Israel, or more precisely, Israel's insistence on continuing to participate in the contest despite opposition from several broadcasting unions. In the end, the decision was made and Israel's public broadcaster Kan celebrated what it called a resounding victory. Dov Gelhar, reporting from Geneva, boasted, "We got 12 points," and the headline in Ynet captured the national mood can best be translated as "in your face." This is 100% what I've been experiencing here on this channel, looking at news outlets online, is this in your face, F you, we're going to see you in Vienna. That is like 99% of what I've seen from Israeli Eurofans. Israel is behaving like a bull in a china shop, poking Europe in the eye, alienating itself from Eurovision fans who once welcomed it with open arms. Israel could have chosen a simple, easier path, announcing that while it is at war, it has no time, space, or desire to take part in an international singing contest. Could not agree with him more. This guy is talking so much sense. It could have stepped back, regrouped, and returned to Europe after the war. Even Israel's closest Eurovision allies would have likely appreciated such a gesture. This is something I've been saying for months. If Israel actually loved the contest, they would have seen that they were causing damage, taken a dignified step back, but instead they've gone scorched earth policy, country before contest. I've seen this with the Israeli Eurovision fans as well, absolutely putting nationalism in front of the contest. I've been to the contest multiple times. Israeli Eurofans are one of the most passionate. I've been so disappointed in how almost all of them, a huge majority, have completely and utterly taken the side of this scorched earth policy. The article continues, the internal rift dividing the Israeli public has seeped into a contest, casting doubt on the entire concept of the competition. From now on, this will be Israel's true legacy at Eurovision, a legacy far larger than its 4 victories to date, a disgraceful legacy. This is what Israel's going to be remembered for decades. in Eurovision circles, potentially destroying it, scorching it to the ground. Like Shay has said in this article, if they just step back for a couple of years, I'm not saying everything would be perfect, but I do think some people would have appreciated that gesture. At the end of the article, Israel has lost the ability to listen, to try to understand why so many in Europe are furious. Most of all, Israel has lost the ability to see itself as part of the wider world. Israel is a small, isolated country that managed to clear a few hurdles, only to dig itself a deep hole inside a song contest, right in their face. Really, really wonderful article from Shay here, really showing this short-term policy. But then we have multiple generations of people who will never forgive Israel, consider them a pariah state in the same way as they consider Russia. So Shay rightly pointing out that these victories come, but at what cost? The reason I wanted to point this out is that I've seen so few Israeli Eurofans saying stuff like this. We have Ronnie, who's a Israeli content creator on Twitter, Shay. Other than that, everything I've seen has been completely following the government narrative. One small positive from Israel not being removed is that can still continue to exist. Israel is currently sitting 112th in the World Press Freedom Index, which is a measure of the freedom of press in the country. I think if you lost Can, we're looking at Israeli people getting even more completely and utterly brainwashed. Okay, final story on this topic. 17 musicians participating in Festival de Canção 2026, that's Portugal's national final, have issued a joint statement that they will not participate in Eurovision 2026 if they win Festival de Canção. So there are 16 acts competing in Festival de Canção 2026. 17 artists from 12 of those acts have put forward statements saying that they will not represent Portugal if they win. So there's only 4 artists in Festival de Canção at this point in time would actually go. 75% chance the winner of Festival de Canção doesn't go. Do they pick the person who comes second or third? What happens if the best ranked of those remaining 4 is 12th? Do they still get to go even though they came 12th? And presumably the song isn't great? Who knows? RTP, the Portuguese broadcaster, has issued a statement in response. Regardless of the decisions of the artists who subscribe to the statement, RTP will once again organise Festival de Canção and reaffirms its participation in Eurovision. So it seems like RTP are going to go regardless. So God knows what they'll do. Maybe then Tourney Select or something, we'll find out later in the year. Okay, let's now move on to other news. First up, we have the 34 artists competing in the auditions for Moldova's national final. These are not being televised this year, which many Eurofans are disappointed about. The songs are all uploaded though. I believe you can go and listen to all 34 if you want to. There's a couple artists who are in twice. Sasha Flowers has 2 songs. Apparently there's some bops in here. Some of my patrons went through and listened to all of them and they said there's some good songs. We also have this person who's back. I'm not saying his name. If you have an incredible amount of patience, you can go listen to those 34 songs. I'm going to wait until they've whittled it down to, I think they usually got 10 in the Moldova national final. Okay, next up we have the winner of Junior Eurovision 2025. France have taken their 4th victory, Lou de Luz singing Smthngnw. The contest took place in Tbilisi in Georgia. I thought that Georgia put on a great show. It was quite a small auditorium, but it looked really good on camera. The male host was excellent. Very, very fun contest, but France showing that they are the top dogs in Junior Eurovision, getting another win. This is their 4th win in the last 6 years. Utterly dominant in Junior Eurovision. They are so good at a really, really great song. Let's go through some of the other relevant results. Ukraine winning the online vote, which is really fun. San Marino coming 3rd. Overall, they got a result of 9th, which is their best result ever in the contest. And we also had a really nice moment. Azerbaijan, for the first time in history, awarding Armenia points in either adult or junior Eurovision. They gave them 3 points. In case you don't know, in junior Eurovision, there's 2 child jurors and 3 adult jurors. And if we look at Armenia's points, we can see these are probably the 2 children ranking up 4th. And then these are adults going to a children's contest and ranking down their rivals really, really, really low. At least this person didn't put it last. Great to see that children are capable of just ranking a song properly in a children's contest. Anyway, great to see that that is a glass ceiling that has finally been broken. But if we look at the overall results, it is all of the normal Junior Eurovision big hitters. France, like I said, getting their 4th title, which equals Georgia at top of the table. They both have 4 titles now. Ukraine, Georgia, Armenia, Spain. These 5 are the 5 best countries in Junior Eurovision pretty much every single year. Great to see Albania coming 6th. They're really on a hot streak now in both adult and Junior Eurovision. So this is really, really great. North Macedonia getting one of their best results in Junior Eurovision. Not their best one, they have come 5th, but 7th place for them is really, really excellent. And San Marino, as I already said, getting their best result ever. That was a really, really wonderful song. Very early in the running order, so it might have done a little bit better. It coming 11th in the jury was scandalous. This should have been somewhere or even higher up. But it was a really fun contest. I wonder, are France going to host? Last time they won, they didn't host. They gave that honor to Spain. If they didn't want to host, would it automatically go to Ukraine? I don't think so. I don't think Georgia would want to host again. So I imagine France probably are going to host. If not, maybe it'll go to Armenia. Or maybe Albania might host. They've never hosted either adult or junior Eurovision. That would be something really, really nice if France decide that they don't want to do it. Give it to Albania. That would be so much fun. But yes, this was our only time to see Spain, North Macedonia, Ireland and Netherlands, because we're not going to see them in the coming year. So great to see those countries on the Eurovision stage. Ireland, unfortunately, coming last place. This is our second time in the last 3 years that we've been in last place. I think we need to slightly revamp what we're sending. I think our songs are a little bit too adult, maybe a little bit too sad. I think we should maybe go for something a little bit more upbeat, try and revise our strategy. But great to see the Irish language on the Eurovision stage. We also have the 8 songs released for the Luxembourg Song Contest. They were released on the RTL website. I haven't filmed my video reaction to that yet. I've done my reaction to Supernova Latvia, edited half of that. I want to get that up first. Then I'll do Luxembourg. And then I think we have the Spanish songs for Benidorm Fest coming out soon. So I will try and get all of that done before Christmas. Pretty lukewarm reception to this though. I don't think there's anything super wow like we had last year with Laura Thorne, where there was a little bit of excitement when her song was released. So things looking a little bit iffy, but I'm going to wait and see until I do that reaction myself. But I have already done my reaction to Estilal, Estonia's national final. Go check that out. That is one of the best national finals I've ever covered on this channel, if not the best one. I think the other potential rival for it would be Romania 2020. Their national final that year was absolutely incredible. Okay, we have some news from Eurovision predictions. Their prediction game is now open. If you haven't ever seen this before, you can predict who's going to win national finals and you get points. It's a little bit like a fantasy league. It's a Eurovision version of that. So you can go and put forward your predictions on who's going to win Festival Akunga 64 and also who's going to win Monte Song, Montenegro's national final. So go sign up now if you want to get those points. Okay, we've got some news from Austria, their new national final. Wer singt für Österreich? The artists for that are going to be announced on Monday the 15th of December. Keep in mind, last time they had a national final was also when they hosted and they got 0 points. So hopefully that national final will go a little bit better this year. We've also got our first few disqualifications. The first one, Nico has been disqualified from Selección Nacional. That is Moldova's national final, the one I just told you about. He was due to perform Falling in Love, but he won't anymore. TRM has not revealed the reason for this disqualification. I think there was an update saying that it was played before September 1st. Don't quote me on that though. We've had another disqualification from Dora. Karolina Ilic has been disqualified from Dora because she's not a Croatian citizen. So she's going to be replaced by Gabrielle Ivic. So our second disqualification, could this replacement, Gabrielle Ivic, pull a baby lasagna and win Dora and then go on to win the televote? Could this be Croatia's thing that they do? We also have news from Germany. Their national final is coming back on the 28th of February. It's going to be called Das Deutsche Finale. It seems like they're going back to their old format. They've picked out songs from songwriting camps and there's going to be a big live show. So it seems like they're going back to the format that they had before Stefan Raab came in. Okay, we also have the snippets for the songs competing in Benidorm Fest, Spain's national final. RTV have released 30-second snippets of all 18 competing entries. I haven't checked these out. I don't check out snippets because I don't want spoilers. But if you want to get a tasty teaser of what's going to be in Benidorm Fest, go get a sneaky peek of these 18 songs. I think they're going to be out pretty soon. I don't know the exact date, but it's usually before Christmas. So that'll be our delicious little Spanish Christmas present. Hopefully we're going to be getting 18 bops. Okay, no need to check out the Eurovision calendar today because there's not much new added to it. But what did you think about all the Eurovision news? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you to those who've been supporting me on PayPal and Buy Me Coffee. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave a QR code here and a link in the description. And of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons and YouTube members from all around the world for supporting the channel. If you want some exclusive content, go check out my Patreon. But of course, thank you so much just for being here. And I hope to see you on another Eurovision news update very soon. Goodbye.